Hey guys, Brian from Boas here. I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys in the comments and via email, and whenever possible I try to answer them in those forums, but sometimes I just don't have the time, and many of these questions are applicable to pretty much anybody keeping boas. So today I thought I would answer some of the more recent applicable questions. You've probably been wondering some of these things, so be sure to stay tuned. Let me grab my list here. Okay, first question. I've had an outbreak of mites and I did a treatment with Dawn dish soap. It seemed to work, but then 5 days later I see little black flecks in the water. What did I do wrong? Okay, as you probably know, mites are a real big deal. If you have mites, you have to take it completely seriously. Do everything you can to eradicate them. I've done videos on this in the past, so check those out. Dawn dish soap is not an effective treatment for mites. It can kind of help if you use stronger agents to get rid of them. You know, it kind of helps to soak your animal in water with the dish soap, but that's not going to take care of the mites by itself. So you're going to have to use something like permethrin or ivermectin, or some people use a predatory mite. There's a number of solutions out there, but get something a little bit stronger. Also, you're going to have to repeat the application of the agent at least 2 or 3 times over the course of, about 2 months or so, because these things keep coming back. They're very strong. If you don't kill every last one animal can start the infestation again. So do everything you can to get rid of the mites. Also keep animals in quarantine when you're bringing them in for at least 3 months to prevent mites from getting into your collection. Okay. Next question. You didn't list Argentine boas in your best beginner boas video. Why not? Well, I like Argentine boas. They're definitely one of my favorite types of boas, but I wouldn't list them as a great beginner species, and it comes down to a couple reasons. The first is the price. They're really expensive these days. You're looking at $800 to $1,000 just for a wild type one. If you want like a morph, like a T-positive albino or a max pink, something like that, you're probably looking at several times that, and that's just a lot of money for a beginner. You probably, for your first beginner boa, you don't want to be buying a boa that's that expensive. In addition, I would say they're not quite as calm as some of the other types of boas, a little harder to handle. So I'd say they're great. A beginner could keep one, don't get me wrong, and the husbandry is pretty straightforward, but I wouldn't list them as one of my all-time top favorite beginner boas. I'd have to say pretty much the Colombian boa is my #1 recommended beginner boa. Okay, next question. Why don't you keep Dumeril's boas? A lot of people have asked me through the years about Dumeril's boas, what's my opinion of them, do I have recommendations for them? And I just have to say I've never kept a Dumeril's boa, not because of the boa itself. They're beautiful to look at. People highly recommend them. They seem like great animals to work with. So this has nothing to do with my judgment of the Dumeril's boas. I just have plenty of boas already. There's only so many boas one person can keep. And I've decided to focus exclusively on boa constrictors of the boa constrictor group. By that I mean the different subspecies formerly classified as boa constrictor, now classified as boa constrictor, boa imperator, and boa sigma. And that's what I call the boa constrictor group. I don't keep other types of boas, rainbow boas, Dumeril's boas, anacondas, tree boas. It's just outside of my scope, and again, it's not because I don't love these animals or because I don't recommend them. If you want to keep them, by all means check them out. I just have a limited amount of bandwidth, and I'd rather put all my eggs in the boa constrictors rather than try to do several different types of boas. Next question. Can you recommend a place I can purchase a boa from? Well, this depends on the type of boa you're looking for. If you're new to boas and you just want a pet boa, I'd say probably the best place is just to go to your local pet shop that sells reptiles, provided it's a decent establishment. Check out what they have. You can also go to a show that comes near you where you can actually see the boas and hold them. Most people that are new to the hobby, they want to see the boa directly, and I understand that, rather than getting one from a breeder that has to ship it out. You can even go to a local humane society. Sometimes they have unwanted boas that need homes. You can even find unwanted boas sometimes in classified ads like Craigslist and newspaper ads. Maybe somebody had a boa as a pet, but now they're going off to college and the parents need to unload the boa real fast. Sometimes you can find something good that way. I would say though, if you want like a specific type of boa, morph locality, something like that, your best place is to buy it from a breeder or an establishment that ships reptiles out. You know, I have to recommend Brian Boas. My own breeding establishment is a very good place to get different locality boas. And I still have some 2022 babies available at my Flickr site. The link is below the description of this video. And I expect to have more in 2023. But you can also check out some of the online classifieds like Morph Market, Fauna Classifieds, and kingsnake.com for a variety of different locality boas and morph boas that will have to likely be shipped out to you. And many beginners don't want to have it shipped. It's really no big deal, and it's very safe, so you don't have to worry about shipping if you want to go that route. Okay, next we have a viewer comment rather than a question. The comment is, "My cats thank you for this video." And I really appreciate that because I love all animals, not just snakes. I have several cats and dogs myself. I spend a lot of time with them. You know, the cats and dogs, of course, give me something a little different than what I get out of the snakes, and it's great to have different types of pets. We all get different things from different pets. You know, all pets are welcome to watch this channel. You know, everybody is welcome to, you know, if you want to comment on other types of pets or reptiles or whatever, you're welcome to comment below. But, you know, continue having your cats watch these videos. Maybe they get stimulated by the movement of the snakes. Maybe they even try to attack the screen. But, you know, I appreciate the attention from your cats. Okay, next, I just bought a Guyana BCC, but the tail is a dark chocolate brown, not red. Is this a legitimate true red tail? Well, the answer is yes. Not all true red tails have a red tail, which sounds kind of paradoxical. But the tail can be anywhere from kind of a bright fire engine red to kind of a deep crimson cranberry red to kind of a dark maroonish brownish red. And a lot of the Guyana lines have kind of more of a dark maroonish red, although some of them have this bright red tail, and to me that looks identical to a Suriname. As I've said before, there's probably not really any difference between a Suriname and a Guyana as far as from a biological perspective. So I actually have one pair of Guyana. You know, I have loads and loads of Surinames, but just one pair of Guyana. They're from Mike Eckert's bloodline, one of his bloodlines. And the reason I got these is they don't look like Surinames. They have this deep maroon, kind of darkish tail. A little bit reddish, but you'd say it's kind of more of a chocolatey look. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that they don't have this bright red tail like my Surinames. They look different. So maybe your boa has kind of that look. So what I would say is enjoy all the boas you have. Just because they don't have this bright red tail, they're still true red tails. They're still beautiful animals. We just have to enjoy and appreciate all the diversity of these animals that we're fortunate to have available. And yes, it's 100% a legitimate true red tail BCC. Not all true red tails have red tails, and many non-true red tails have red tails. So it's a little bit confusing. Okay, next question. I just watched your breeding update video with all the gravid females, but I didn't see any Argentines. Are you going to have Argentines? Well, the breeding update video I released last week, I didn't show all the animals. I just showed a sub-selection of my gravid females. So it is possible I might have Argentines. So I just don't want to comment yet because I don't know. And I don't want to jinx myself, which I probably just did by answering this question, but stay tuned for future updates on breeding. And with any luck, we might have some baby Argentine boas on the ground in a few months. One more boa to show you for this video. This is a 2018 born Tarahumara mountain boa. This is a female. Haven't bred her yet, but possibly she'll breed next year. Okay, so to get back to the questions, how often should you hold your boa? Okay, the answer to this question will vary for every person, every situation. There's no set answer. And the answer, as far as I'm concerned, is anywhere from once a week when you're going to clean its cage and check on it, just give it a brief health examination by handling it, to several times a day if you're so inclined and if your boa seems to enjoy and tolerate the handling. And of course this question varies depending on the owner and the boa. Some owners view these animals as pets like a dog or cat. They want to interact with it every day, take it out, get to know it, carry it around the house, things like that. And if you have a boa that likes this or tolerates it, feel free to handle it several times a day. As long as your boa is kind of acting chill like this one, it's fine to handle it. Okay, and as long as you're not taking it to like a really cold or hot environment, it's going to be fine. Even if you take it out for half an hour to an hour or so, it's going to be fine. Just keep an eye on it, make sure that it doesn't get away, or nothing bad happens as far as harm, and you're fine handling it. But then there are other people that they don't want to handle boas. They view them more as a hobby, like a tropical fish. Basically, they only handle them enough to move them around, to hold, to breed them or clean the cage, things like that. And this is fine too, because boas don't need human companionship. They're fine without it, okay? I know that many of you probably are disappointed by that and like to think that the boa interacts with you like a dog or cat would, but really they don't, okay? It's not that type of animal. And that's fine, it doesn't make them better or worse, it's just, this is what they are. And I know some of you guys are going to say, know what the hell you're talking about, and write some kind of anecdote below in the comments about how your boa recognizes you and responds to its name and all this other stuff. But personally, I don't think that they really interact all that much as far as recognizing specific humans, other than maybe based on scent and based on the behavior. So now I'm kind of going around in circles with this question. So I'll just move on to my final point with this question is, it also depends on the boa. If you have a boa that's really doesn't like being handled or kind of goes crazy when you take it out, chances are you probably don't want to handle it all that much, okay? Sometimes you can calm these boas down, but if they don't, you just have to conclude that your boa is more of a boa to look at and not handle. This is a small minority of the boas out there, so don't be too worried, but some boas are just like that. So the answer to the question as how often you should handle your boa, it really depends. I actually decided to get out one more boa based on this question. This is a Hog Island boa. Also because many of you guys have commented about the cute little boa you've seen in the tubs behind me, and I've got some of my Hog Island boas back here. This one was born in 2019. Beautiful animal from Sears bloodline with another bloodline that I have, and I just love this gorgeous animal. But the question is, what is a fair market price for a Hog Island boa? And the answer to this question is there's plenty of resources where you can go to see what the fair market price is based on what boas are selling for, or being listed for, I should say. You can go to Morph Market. There's, I think, probably a dozen or so Hog Island boas on there now. So you can see what people are charging. This doesn't mean people are going to buy at that price, but it should give you a pretty good idea. If you see them going quickly, people are probably buying at that price. When you do this, though, make sure it's an actual pure Hog Island boa. There's lots of these hybrids, these hypo hogs and sunset boas, which are a cross between a Hog Island and like a common boa, BCI, pet store type boa. So that's not a pure Hog Island boa. You have to compare apples to apples if you want to know the fair price. Typically, I don't give out prices when people ask them. I know people ask me a lot about this. I can't tell you, if I do have hogs this year, I can't tell you what I'm going to sell them for now. It depends on the market conditions at the time, as well as the number of babies in the litter and the quality of the babies. So I don't determine the prices until the babies are on the ground and ready to go. That's really, putting the cart before the horse, because I don't even have the babies yet. I don't want to I want to make sure I have them before I put the price on them. But you can expect that my prices are probably pretty similar to the market value, what other people are selling theirs for at the time. Okay, next, do you ever keep any tree boas? The answer is no. I've never kept a tree boa, green tree, garden tree, or any tree pythons, anything like that, animal tree boas, things like that. And the reason is the same with the Dumerals. I just don't have the bandwidth to keep anything other than a boa constrictor group animal. I thought about getting into actual green tree pythons back about 15-20 years ago, back when I was starting to get into boas. I just really liked the green tree pythons, the way they looked, the different localities. But I never actually kept the green tree python. Maybe one day, but for now it's just boa constrictors. Okay, next comment. I don't see prices on the Flickr page. Are there prices on the Flickr page? Yes, if you want to see the prices, you need to go to the different albums. Click on the album that you're interested in, like, Suriname Boa Litter 2, 2022 Litter 2. and then you'll see individual thumbnails. Click on the individual thumbnails and you'll see like a bigger picture, and under the picture in the description I have the prices listed on all my Boas. Okay, just make sure to click on the thumbnails to see the full size version of the picture, and then you can see the price. Which brings us to the last question, which is another question related to my selling. I've noticed you are kind of an old school guy as far as the payments you accept, check or money order. And you know, can you comment on this? And yes, I commented on this before a few videos ago. I'm not going to elaborate. I don't take PayPal, I don't take credit cards, I don't take any online payment. There are a number of reasons for this, which I talked about in the previous video. It's not that hard to write a check or to go get a money order. And I'm kind of surprised that so many people don't use these things anymore. I mean, maybe I'm kind of an anachronism of the 90s, but it's easy to just get a checking account. And you know, what do you do to pay your bills? You need a checking account, you know, if you have bills to pay. You can get money orders even if you don't have a checking account. Go to any post office, you can get money orders. You can get Western Union money orders at any Walmart, and other locations also have the Western Unions. I take Western Union or post office, or you know, there's several other types of money orders and certified bank checks I take, as well as personal checks. So it's really not all that hard to do that. You're gonna have to wait maybe a little bit longer. You have to put it in the mail, send it to me. So you know, maybe it's gonna take you a week or two to get your snake, rather than maybe you could have got it, you know, within a couple days had you paid digitally. But like I said, there are many reasons why I don't do digital payments, which I elaborated more on my videos, some of my previous videos. And one last comment, a breeder buddy of mine that I was talking to told me the other day that we were talking about this, and he actually said that he has to tell people where to get stamps, like they don't even know what the post office is or how to get a postage stamp and mail a letter, which I was a little bit shocked. It seems like kind of a basic life skill, knowing how to, you know, get a stamp and put mail in the mail. You go to the post office, you know, you pay 50 cents or whatever they're charging now, get a stamp just to fix it to the envelope, write the address and the zip code, etc. Doesn't seem that hard, but I don't know, maybe we got to the point where people can't even do this anymore. But I would just say maybe I seem like an anachronistic old fart, and maybe I am, but it's not that hard, and there are definitely reasons why you want actual money, actual accounts. You don't want things to be digital. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole and talk about my views on this, but if you're paying for everything digitally online, you probably want to look into other options for the future, just for your own security, and I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, that was some questions people have asked and my thoughts and opinions on them. Would love to hear your opinions. And if you have any questions that you want answers to, or at least opinions on, feel free to shoot them to me and I'll maybe answer them in an upcoming episode. Thanks for watching and enjoy your Boas.